however, badly needed to collect those duties. It had accumulated debts of more than £1 million in the French and Indian War in the North and West, and Parliament was determined to step up tax enforcement to force Americans to assume more of the costs of their own defense. Boston's mid-level merchants objected, and, as Massachusetts Royal Governor Thomas Hutchinson put it, "From so small a spark, a great fire seems to have been kindled." The dissenting merchants responded to the increased taxes by organizing waterfront workers into a raging mob that surged through the streets, taking control of the town and its government. The mob brooked no dissent, burning homes of the most outspoken opponents and sending the dreaded tumbril, in imitation of the Inquisition coach, to the doors of citizens who dared voice support for the established government. The squeaking wooden tipcart arrived at dawn, its drivers breaking down doors and dragging shrieking victims from their beds for transport to the Liberty Tree. A jeering mob awaited to strip them, swab them in scalding tar, and dress them in chicken feathers before hanging them by the waist from a branch to be scorned, beaten, and humiliated. The tarring and feathering and riots reigned uncontrolled, Chief Justice Peter Oliver recalled. The liberty of the press was restrained by the very men who had been hallooing for liberty. Those printers who were inclined to support government were threatened. After the mob burned down the home of a merchant who had paid the required duties on imported tea, a churchman at the conflagration assured the merchant's frightened neighbors that it was all right, it being in a good cause. Oliver explained that all this struggle and uproar arose from the selfish designs of the merchants. He called them mock patriots who disguised their private views by mouthing it for liberty, but who will sacrifice everything for money. The struggle and uproar climaxed on Thursday, December 16, 1773, with the legendary Boston Tea Party, when an estimated 6 to 7 dozen men, many amateurishly disguised as Indians, who were then a symbol of freedom, dumped at least 10,000 British pounds of tea, about $1 million today, into Boston Harbor. Whatever the motives of its perpetrators, they unleashed social, political, and economic forces they would never again be able to control. The Boston Tea Party provoked a reign of terror in Boston and other American cities, with Americans inflicting unimaginable barbarities on each other. Mobs dumped tea and burned tea ships in New York, Philadelphia, Charleston, South Carolina, and elsewhere, and Boston staged a second tea party a few months after the first one. The turmoil stripped tens of thousands of Americans of their dignity, homes, properties, and birthrights, all in the name of liberty and independence. Nearly 100,000 Americans left the land of their forefathers forever in what was history's largest exodus of Americans from America, and untold thousands who refused to leave their native land fled westward into the dangerous wilderness to start life anew under new identities. Even in the face of such horrors, John Adams saw a grander picture, calling the Boston Tea Party nothing short of magnificent, and insisting it displayed a dignity, a majesty, a sublimity. This destruction of the tea is so bold, so daring, so firm, intrepid, and inflexible, and it must have so important consequences and so lasting that I cannot but consider it as an epoch in history. Ironically, few, if any, Americans today, even those who call themselves Tea Party patriots, know the true and entire story of the original Tea Party and the patriots who staged it. Their names are long forgotten. No monument lists them or describes what they did and why. Before the original Tea Party patriots disembarked, they swore never to reveal each other's names, although British authorities accused John Hancock, Sam Adams, James Otis, and even fat little John Adams of dumping some of the tea. Although the names of Tea Party patriots are of some interest, what John Adams called the important consequences of the Tea Party had far more impact on American history, socially, politically, and economically. One social consequence, for example, was a shortage of tea that helped transform Americans into a nation.